All right, so we're going to start with a kind of a little review on how to calculate area and how to calculate surface area and volume and things like this. And then we're going to get into our unit, which is the geometry unit, which is how to calculate surface area of 3D figures, how to optimize surface area and volume and things like this. So it's going to start easy, but then it's going to get harder as it goes, right? So the first thing that we're going to do is just a review on how to calculate the area of each figure. As you can see, when we are talking about 2D figures, we calculate area and basically perimeter, right? Area and perimeter are for 2D figures, and then we talk about surface area and volume for the 3D figures, okay? So if you look at the first one, it's asking you to calculate the area of each figure. The first figure is a circle, right? So since it's a circle, the formula for the area of a circle from your formula sheet is area equals pi r squared. When you're using your calculator, right, to calculate this, I want you to use the pi button, okay? You don't use 3.14, you use the pi button, all right? So this is what we're going to do. We're going to enter the 3 centimeter, which is the radius, into where r is, right? But math tells you that you have to do the 3 squared first before you multiply by pi, right? Or you can enter it in the calculator like pi 3 squared. So it's going to be pi times 9, which is 28.27 centimeter squared. There is no rule per se. Yeah. Yours says syntax error. What did you do? Yeah, and then times 9. Okay, times 3 squared. You have to do times. Yeah?
Put it in a bracket.
Doesn't have to. Yeah, you can put it in a bracket, or you can do multiply by 3 squared. So there's no rules on how many decimal places you need to leave it to. 2 decimal places is a good number to leave your answer to. Okay? That's right. It's centimeters squared because the unit for the area is a squared unit. Okay? So the unit is very important, and then you will lose marks if the unit is not correct. Okay? Now, the second shape that I have is a triangular shape. What's the formula for the area of a triangular shape? Base times height divided by 2. So in this case, we are lucky because the height was given to us, right? Sometimes the height is not given to you and you have to find it using trigonometric ratio, right? So let's say if they gave you that, let's say that they gave you this, they gave you this, and they gave you this, but you don't have the height, you need to actually draw the height and you need to find it, okay? They usually give you an angle and 2 sides at least, okay? But you need to find it if it's not given to you, okay? So in this case, it is given to us, so we're good. So the height is 7.8 and the base is 12.8, so I have to plug them into the calculator. So this is the easy stuff. And your answer for this should be 49.92. Let me know if you got something different. And then the area is, the unit for the area is centimeters squared. All area, the unit is squared. Because look what happens. When you multiply, basically this is what you're doing, right? The base is in centimeter, right? And the height is in centimeter, right? When you multiply centimeter by centimeter, what happens? It's centimeters squared, right? That's why. When you're doing the area, when you're finding the area or finding the whatever, the volume or whatever it is, you have to make sure that your units are the same, Okay? If your units are not the same, you have to do conversion to singular unit. Okay? What shape do I have right there? Parallelogram. Yeah. So what's the area of a parallelogram from your formula sheet? So it's area equals base times height, right? So in this case, both are given to me. Again, this is easy question because both are given to me. So I have the height and I have the base, right? All what I have to do is I have to multiply them. So 2.1 times 3.1, which gives me 6.5. 5.1, is it? Meters squared. Meters squared. Now these are the easy ones. Then we get into finding areas of composite figure. Okay? Are you guys done with this? All right. So, what does composite figure mean? It's an irregular shape, but not only it's an irregular shape, it's a shape that is made up of different shapes. Now, it could be that it's made up of different shapes, but then some shapes are removed, some shapes are added, right? So it's not always that shapes are added together. It could be that you're looking at it as a full shape and then something is removed from it, okay? So if I'm showing you this, what do you see? Yes. What do you see? How many shapes do you see? 3. What are they that you see? Which one? So these two, and then this. So you see 2 squares, and then 3, and a rectangle here. Okay. What do you see?
I see some triangles too.
Triangles?
Or if you divide it, but
Okay. If you're gonna look at this as shapes, what do you see? What do you see?
5 squares.
5 squares. What do you see?
2
Square and a triangle, a rectangle
Where do you see the 2 squares?
on the top.
2 squares and a rectangle?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also I can see 5 squares too.
Okay. What if they're not cut? What do you see?
one single shape. I mean, if
5
they're not cut.
squares.
So if this is not cut, if you don't see squares, what do you see? I see a rectangle on the top and a rectangle on the bottom, right? I also see a square here, a rectangle this way, and a rectangle this way, right? So you can see different shapes, right? So you can basically, you can either find the area of the 5 squares and then add them. You can find the area of the rectangle on top, rectangle on the bottom, and add them. You can find the area of 2 squares and a rectangle and add them, right? Or you can find the area of the whole shape, thinking that this is going to be a rectangle altogether, and then subtract whatever's cut out, right? So this is what we call a composite figure. It's made of different things. Now, in this case, it's all made of rectangle and square, but it doesn't have to be only rectangles and squares. It could be triangles, parallelogram, trapezoid, right? Things put together, half a circle added to the area, right? But in this case, let's say if I put these together, right, what do you see? That's the question. What do you see so you can find the area or you can find the perimeter or whatever, okay? Because in real life, the shapes, they don't have to be only one single thing. So look at the table, for example. You have a rectangle, right? And you have kind of like, they look like cone or cylindrical shape, the legs, right? So when you're finding the area or surface area or whatever for that table, you're gonna have to consider the different shapes that it's made of, okay? A composite shape is a shape that can be divided into more than one simple shape. First, we need to cut the shape up into smaller, more simple shapes. So we need to cut it. Remember how we were talking about the shape that we saw, right? Where we were analyzing what kind of shape is it to make that particular shape. So we cut the shape up into smaller, more simple shapes that we can find the area of. We then determine the area of each shape and then add or subtract. Are you guys good with that? Okay. Now, this is the outside one doesn't is not included. This is just a measurement. Okay. So this is not part of the shape. Okay. The shape is the other. This is just to show some measurement. So what do you see? What shapes do you see put together? Triangle. Squares or rectangle? Okay, so triangle, I can draw a kind of dotted line to just basically form it, right? Do you guys agree with that? Yes. Yeah. Okay, so how about the two rectangles? Where do you see them? How do you see them? Like jotted down right here, right? Perfect. Okay, so you see the three shapes, right? I'm going to call this shape number 1, this shape number 2, and this shape number 3. Now, in order to find the area of a rectangle, what do I need? Length and width. Perfect. Now, do I have, for number 1, do I have both my length and my width? So what's my length and what's my width? What is it? Okay, the length is 6.8. How about the width?
Half of 13.8.
Why is it half? Does it have to be cut in half? Is it really cut in half? So we said that this is 16.8, right? So that's perfect. Okay. Now I'm looking for this right here. How can I find that? What do I know?
You know one side and square all the sides of.
This is not a square though, right? It's a rectangle. I know that long side down here, right? I know this, right? And I know that this is 6.2. What does that mean? If this is 6.2, that means this right here is 6.2, right? Is that right or no? If this is 6.2, that means the bottom is 6.2 right here, that green one. Okay. Now, if I want to find this right here, that's right. So I do 13.4 minus 6.2. That would give me this side. So 13.4 minus 6.2, that would be 7.2. So now I have the length and the width of my rectangle. Okay? So side, I'm going to call it side A. Right? So to find side A, I had to do 13.4 because that's the whole length down there. And then I subtracted 6.2 from it to give me 7.2 centimeter. Okay? So now I know that my length and width of the rectangle, so I have to do the area of rectangle 1 is 7.2 times 6.8, which is 48.96. And the unit is centimeter squared. Now for my second shape, do I know what my length and width are?
Yes.
So what are they?
It's 6.2 and 9.9.
And where do you get 9.9 from?
6.8 plus 2.1.
That's right. So if you look at this right here, this is made up of 6.8 and of the 3.1. So altogether it's going to be 9.9, right? So my length is 9.29 and my width is 6.2. So the area of the second shape is length times width again. So that's 6.2 times 9.9, which is going to be 61.38. And then again, it's centimeter squared. And then looking at the third triangle, the third shape is a triangle. So for the triangle, I know I need base times height divided by 2, right? That's the area of a triangle. So it's base times height divided by 2. What's my base? What's my height?
12.6 is your height, and your height is 9.9.
12.6 is your height. So this is your height.
Oh, that's not mine. Wait. Oh,
So this is your height right here, right? Which is 12.6, and it's given to me outside, right? They drew it outside. And then the base is this, which is 9.9. It's the same as the red one, right? So that's going to be 9.9 times 12.6 divided by 2. So the answer for this is 42. No, what's the answer for that? $124. Can I have your pencil? Can I have a pen or pencil? Thank you.
31
Sorry, I can't hear you guys.
31.19.
It can't be 31.19. Yeah, that makes more sense. 62.37.
62.37.
Okay, now add them all together, right, to find the area of the whole shape.
How's it doing that?
0.96 plus
Equals 1771. And that would be your final answer. you to do is I want you to get as a one group, two groups, whatever, split yourselves up. And then I want you to look at the same shape again, but I want you to look at different ways that you can calculate that area, okay? So you're gonna split your shapes into different shapes, okay? Not the same ones, right? You guys can get together and then try to find the answer for that.